Mississippi?
He was fine.
Okay.
Ethan Fitcher. Ethan.
Nice to meet you.
Amanda Krause.
Amanda.
Yes.
Nathan.
Oh.
Nathan. And do I have a memo or
Yes.
something to?
Sorry,
No.
fourth one.
Thank you.
Oh, we can. Okay.
Yeah, we can share.
That was a good pass.
So where are we headed?
We just came from Iowa State University on October 24th. Spoke to the young students there, 18 to 24, tried to get the young vote, Iowa's the first caucus on February 1st. Wanted to make sure that we have a strong support system there. So what better way to kind of be with the students, be also kind of like with the university, so professors and other colleagues can come and also listen to the message. We just had Fort Collins, Colorado. We had the Republican debate, so we decided to stay in Colorado, where it was an opportunity to kind of meet the supporters and inform volunteers about like their campaign. Tomorrow we have West Memphis, where it's going to be at a high school, and pretty much we're going to share the vision and get the support. You again have the young voters, so 18, you have their parents, you have the rest of the faculty there, anyone in the community that are close by, they're all there, they can hear the inspirational story and ask any questions that they may have.
All right, and is this, okay, a lot of student activity, speaking of students and young people in Iowa. Well, why is this working for us? Talking to young voters?
So far, yes.
Showing them in Iowa, Colorado, Arkansas, are these?
Yes, so far we pulled ahead of Trump as of the other day in terms of support. So it seems that the people are really engaging with the message that Carson has. So we're going to kind of keep going with that. And the huge downfall to the Republican, I guess, like overall in the last presidential election was they lost the support of the young voters. So we really want to try and get that back and keep them on board.
So what's our message?
Okay. There's a few lines of attack other candidates have put towards us, so we don't necessarily need to acknowledge the attacks clearly, but like address the issues behind them. So we would advise to talk about your Seventh-day Adventist faith, like reassure evangelicals that you're on the same page when it comes to values, priorities, and policies. Especially since in Iowa we're really counting on evangelical support in the caucus. Also talk about your plan to reform entitlements, especially Medicare, ensure senior citizens and Americans that they will be taken care of under your administration, and your approach will put them more in charge of their how they run their lives and how they save. Also, I'd say continue talking about Obamacare and healthcare in general, especially with your background as a surgeon. People are very interested in your approach to that. So about more information for consumers and for them to make better decisions for themselves and drive down costs.
Is that what the young people want to hear? So we're speaking to young people, so I'm just wondering if our message is to that audience or to someone else.
That's a good point.
I think like in terms of the Obamacare especially, that was geared towards like the young college graduates who may not have a job coming right out of college that covers medical benefits, or the medical packages that they're put together are so expensive, it makes it a very costly thing for like the young generation. So if we can reform it to where the prices ultimately go lower, then that will be more appealing towards the younger crowd. And it can also kind of give them the ability to have that coverage that they once had under their parents and no longer are able to uphold upon graduation.
I think you're right. And so what are my strengths? Where are my weaknesses in terms of the messaging?
In terms of messaging, I think the strength is you're very down to earth, you're very loyal. You're not like Trump, who goes out there and who publicly just like annihilates everyone in his competition. You are the like down to earth, calm guy. You often make the comparisons to being a neurosurgeon and having to work under pressure and still being able to do a good job. You specifically referenced your case of when you separated the twins And you said anyone that can kind of have that energy for that long of a surgery, then you can definitely handle the pressures of the office, and you can certainly do it in a timely manner and be precise about it.
All right, so then how do we deal with our opposition?
So in terms of our opposition, Marco Rubio and Jeb Bush seem to be the more likely establishment candidates, and they have not been doing very well so far. Marco Rubio keeps missing votes in the Senate.
Doing well in the polls, or doing well
In the polls and
in
just
fundraising?
in the polls and on the job. Specifically on the job in terms of Marco Rubio, who has been missing a lot of votes. Jeb Bush was clearly the front runner a few months ago, and now he hasn't been able to climb back into that position. And last night in the debate, neither one of them could really, or were able to field a question because they didn't really get very many. Jeb and Rubio. I think one of Jeb Bush's 2 or 3 questions that he was able to field was about fantasy football. So they really are not getting enough attention to climb back in the polls. So I wouldn't even, for now, in terms of dealing with the opposition,
You're saying Rubio's not getting attention?
not as much as,
'Cause I saw all the headlines today that said that he pretty much eviscerated Bush, the protege beat the master. So how do we deal with that? Should we get involved?
I don't think we should get involved. I think the strength of your campaign right now is that you're a positive candidate as well as an outsider, but you're an electable outsider, which is kind of the juxtaposition that you need to deal with Donald Trump, he's clearly down, clearly not handling being behind very well. I saw at a rally, he was kind of pleading to the crowd about his low poll numbers and complaining about his low poll numbers. And I think if you appear to be the outsider like Trump, but the more electable, positive, calm outsider, then it's the best way to deal with the opposition.
So you don't want me to attack Trump, who's in first, but I should attack Rubio and Jeb?
I wouldn't really attack anyone. I would just continue to remain positive.
All right, and then what if I ended up doing a media interview in Arkansas? Let's say Fox shows up, what should I be prepared for? Any sort of questions that they might ask me that I'm not aware of right now? What's going on in the news that I need to be aware of?
I think you're going to have to be aware of the critics that are coming at you because you don't have the foreign, policy agenda that some of the others may have. Depending on what the other candidates say within that week, it's going to have to be like a play-by-roll. We'll obviously have to keep our eyes on the news media and what is being said about you, in which case we'll have to brief you right before that. It's also, you're probably going to get questions about police brutality and the act that just occurred in South Carolina with the teenager in the high school and the white officer who happened to throw her across the classroom. Anything along those lines. The shootings that in Oregon, and they're starting, I believe we had one in another state like not too long ago as well, where there's not that many casualties, but it's still a risk that you're going to have to take. You're going to have a firm stance on that, because if you end up being like the wishy-washy, then they're going to call you out just like they have Jeb Bush. They're kind of using his past and his flips on his stances because he's trying to not be like his brother and his father. You're going to have that firm stance and stick true to it.
Yeah, I'm always worried about the curveballs, so this helps.
Another issue that could come up is the budget deal that the House of Representatives just passed. We would discuss it in such a way of like the status quo in Washington remaining to not address the serious issue of debt and deficits, raising the debt ceiling, increasing spending on both military and domestic discretionary spending. So make sure to give the impression you are going to have a serious approach to the budget and solve these problems once for all that have kind of like been gridlocked in the status quo of Washington.
All right, thank you.